Hey everybody, Adam here, another segment of Animated by Porter Presson. Today we're going to go over Alta Simplicity Motorization, specifically the Honeycomb motorization using Simplicity communication. Here we have a battery-powered Alta Honeycomb shade. You can see the battery wand up here attached to the port on the motor. Now, when you order an Alta shade, if you don't specify what channels you want each shade on, if you have multiple shades, all the shades will still be pre-programmed, but only to channel 1 on your remote. So that means if you have multiple shades on a remote, they'll only operate on channel 1, so you don't have that individual control. And if you were to do that and get the shades and you want to add them to different channels, you could still do that. The only thing is you have to uninstall the shade. Luckily I have these brackets here that I can reach inside the headrail, but inside the headrail on the motor there is a programming button, and you would just press and hold that button, pair it to the shade based on what channel you use. But for programming purposes, what I have here is I have the shade on channel 1. It works on channel 1. If I want to add it to channel 2, what I'll do is I'll go inside, press that button using a paperclip pen. The shade will beep or jog, and while it's doing the beeping process, select channel 3. On the back of the remote there's a C button. I'll press and release that. The shade stops beeping. That means it now operates on channel 3, so I added it to a second channel. Now, with these motors, if you have to adjust the limit, the upper limit or the lower limit, you have to do both in sequence, starting with the lower limit. With Somfy or Rollies, you can adjust either the upper limit or the lower limit, and you're fine. But if you just wanted to adjust one limit, you'd still have to adjust them both and reset them both. I'll show you how to do that. So basically, on the back of the remote, just like that C button to confirm the group adding, the channel adding, it'll also confirm limit setting, and there's also this L button, and that is for limit adjustment. So if I wanted to adjust the lower limit of this shade, I'd select my channel, press and hold the L button until it beeps. It'll take about 5 to 10 seconds. There it is. And then what I would do is I would press and release the down button. The shade will continuously travel down, but I'll still have to use a stop button to stop that, or else it'll keep going, and then because this is corded, it'll roll back up. So let it travel down. I'll hit my stop button, and then if I stop it too early, you have to press and hold it, but it only inches. So you want to get as close to that lower limit as possible before you stop it, or else you're going to be waiting a little bit before you can adjust that. So I'll keep bringing it down, and we'll say that's my new lower limit. I'll take my pen or paper clip, press and hold the C button. The shade will beep, confirming I've set that lower limit, but we still have to reset the upper limit. We can't just stop there. So again, it's the reverse process. Press and release the up button. The shade will continuously travel up, but I will have to manually stop it and then adjust the limit to save it, or else it'll just wind up really, really tight. So let this travel up. Then I'll stop it there, and then I'll finalize this small little adjustment without, potentially damaging the shade or the mechanism. Let's say that looks good. Again, I'll press the C button. The shade will beep, confirming I've set that limit. Now the shade is ready for operation. So if I just press and release the down button, the shade will just move an inch. So to set it to the limit, you're going to press and hold it for about a half a second. The shade will start to travel, and you're going to let that go. It'll reach its lower limit, and it will stop. And then again, we'll bring it back up. Now, as you notice, you heard some beeps and everything of the shade. If the shade jogs, it's the same command. So whether the shade beeps or it jogs, it's the same thing. So don't worry about it if your shade jogs versus the shade beeping. So now I'm going to press and hold the up button for about a half a second. Shade will travel up, and it'll go up to that upper limit and stop. And that's pretty much, that's all the limit setting, Alta Simplicity motorization. The same process goes for rechargeable motors. If you're setting multiple groups on the same motor, my suggestion is if you have to take this down, I would pair every single channel that you want this shade to operate on before you install the shade back up and then go into the limit setting. Otherwise, if you want to add, you know, this shade to another channel, you have to take it down, press the button, confirm it to a channel, and go from there. This way it kind of saves a lot of those steps. But Alta, Honeycomb, simplicity motorization. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks.